Hey there, welcome back to another episode. Today I'm excited. I've been waiting to do this for a while, and I might have waited too long, but I'm going to take a risk. But today I'm going to be digging up this mulberry that you've seen in some other videos, so I'll post some links here. And this is the one that I believe was just a seed or something was deposited by a bird or the wind or something. And it just started growing here, and I just kept trimming it and seeing how it would develop. It grew super fast right here. I actually have like some kind of water leak right over here outside of the view of the camera, and I think it's kept the dirt pretty moist, and especially during the summer and stuff, this thing grew like crazy. So part of that is good, and part of it actually has me fearing that eventually it would get root rot or something from staying too wet. Although the bigger it grew, the more it would probably be able to spread its roots between wet and dry soil. But anyway, the thought was that I wanted to obviously uproot this when it was still like early spring, but being where I'm at in Southern California, weather is like really weird because it'll be really cold, or relatively cold, at least for here, and then in like a day it'll switch to 80 degrees or 85 degrees or something. So sometimes the season where the buds start to swell on plants, I feel it's really short. So for this tree, I was observing it for a while, trying to see when the buds started swelling, and I felt like they weren't quite there yet. And then all of a sudden it had leaves. So it just was it went super fast. So I might be a little bit late, but hopefully this thing will do fine in repotting it. And I'll do some close-ups so you can kind of see how big the leaves are. They're not very big, so hopefully I'm still early enough that it will be fine. And I noticed too, when I did some wiggling of this, it's pretty loose in the dirt here, and so hopefully I won't have any issues with. Hopefully more of the roots have grown this way, and there's not like a huge taproot, because then that might put its survival at risk. But we'll see once we start digging into it. But before I dig this up, I think it's important to have sort of the pot and the soil and all that prepared ahead of time. So I'm going to cut and go over to that, and we'll take a look at what we have going on there. Alright, so here is the pot that I plan on transplanting this mulberry into. Bought this on my birthday last year. We went to a bonsai nursery, and I haven't done anything with it yet, so I'm excited to use it. You can see inside I've got the plastic screen. I took a square of this and put that in there, and I got the wire ready to go. And I've done this before where I used a bobby pin to just wrap the wire around. If you have a single hold pot, you need something to wrap the wire around so that it's secure to the bottom, and then the two ends can come out the top here. So that's what I'm going to use for the pot. Over here, I'll do a close-up on this when I have my soil, which is just a mixture of that kind of oil-absorbed stuff, Fuller's Earth mixed with kind of just general compost, potting soil compost. And as far as tools, I have this. I bought this. I think I bought this either at a bonsai expo that I went to, or this or a nursery. I can't remember, but I think this is like a root saw. So I'll use this if I need to kind of cut some of the roots back. Some smaller stuff for smaller roots, and then a root hook if I need to. And then I can't find my small loppers, my handheld loppers, so I have these big ones if I need to for chopping some bigger roots. And dangling frog, not necessary but helpful, so just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And then what I'm going to do right now is just put in some of this soil into the pot ahead of time before we get the plant uprooted. Just want to do as much prep work as possible so the plant is out of dirt as little time as possible. So let me do that right now. Put some soil into here. Okay, now that you've seen that, we are going to start the uprooting process of this. So I'm going to try to go slow at the beginning and just see what we're working with as far as the roots, and then I can work from there. So I have this shovel here. That I'm going to use for the most part, and as you saw in the other video, I have some other tools that I can use if I need to as I sort of evaluate what the root setup is like underground. So let's do it. Clear away this gravel here. I can already see some sort of fibrous roots here on top. It's interesting. All right, I want to work wider and then work my way in. Immediately I'm seeing some roots on top, so yeah, you can see how loose that is. You see that? Wow, that's amazing. Wow, so the root system was almost entirely spread across this way, or horizontally it would appear. I see one not very big taproot right here, but I didn't even have to, these ones even they're kind of growing sideways. You can see that? I think that's a really good thing for this transplanting process. So now I'm just going to kind of work my way to narrow this in, and then we'll work on getting it into the other pot. I'm going to use the root hook to sort of clear out some of the dirt and see what we're working with a little closer. Okay, so you see it's quite fibrous. So I'll take these and start trimming back. So these ones and these ones aren't really working on the roots. So I didn't want to have to use these because I use these a lot on small trimming of plants, but these seem to work really well with the roots. They're pretty moist, so they're cutting pretty easily. So I'm gonna go grab the pot and see how this thing fits in the pot right now. All right, so here we have the pot. Let's just do an initial dry fitting and see how it fits. So it's a little too wide, and it's mainly these thick ones that are blocking it. So I'm just gonna cut a few more of those back and try to keep as many of the fibrous roots in there as possible, so to increase its chances of survival. These do better on the bigger roots. Okay, we're getting a lot closer. So now I can kind of visually see which ones it's blocking. Right here, a little bit right here, and then just this side right here. So I'll start right here. Alright, after a little bit more trimming, I were able to fit it in. And so, because I don't want the roots to crowd the pot immediately, I'm going to just trim a little bit more. I know I probably should have gone to a slightly bigger pot for the first transplanting, but hoping for the best here. I'm so not a pro, as I've said many times in my videos, so a lot of my stuff is trial and error, with a lot of it becoming error, so yeah, we'll see. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do on the root pruning. So let's get back over to our other table now, and we'll start adding in the soil. Okay, here we are back at the table. I'm going to try to work quickly, show you one more time the kind of what we're working with here. I already have some soil in here, and just so you know, I kept the soil kind of damp overnight so that it can help this stay as moist as possible. So I think that I'm just gonna add one more, or a couple more little handfuls in here to the bottom. Spread that around. All right, let's put our mulberry back in. And all right, so what I'm gonna do now is, like I showed you earlier, I have my wire here in place. So let's go ahead and secure the tree in. Keep it from falling over. You know what? I'm actually going to change where I wire this, because there's a really nice root right here and I don't want to damage that with the wire. So I'm actually going to go around the back here. Right, it's pretty secure. Maybe a little bit loose, but once we get the rest of the soil in there, it should be okay. So start adding in our soil. And grabbed my chopstick for poking the soil in and around the roots. Get it nice and mixed in there. Start with the blunt end first. Starts filling all the gaps.
out some more. All right, I think it's just about good for the soil sort of spreading around the roots and whatnot. And so what I'm going to do now is just water it really well. I have a really delicate watering can so that it doesn't disrupt this sort of fresh and loose soil. And we'll get this thing watered really well, and I'll do one more kind of final shot of it in its pot, and we'll see how this thing does. Soil seems to be draining well, so that's good. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. You know, transplanting a tree from the ground into a pot is never a 100% guarantee, so hopefully this thing makes it and has a great growing year. Hopefully I uprooted it early enough in its growing season that it still has a lot of vigor to be able to push out the rest of these leaves and hopefully develop a lot more branches. And I think it looks really cool in this pot, and hopefully it's got enough soil and enough room for the roots to really get compact in there. I might repot it again in a couple years if the tree is still around, and yeah, hopefully this thing really begins to develop. It's got a really cool twin trunk look going on right now. Don't know if that would stay forever, or you know, I would go a different direction with it, but at least for right now I really like how it looks, and I think there's a lot of potential with this tree. So yeah, let's see how this thing does in the future. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. Thanks. All right, everyone, just an update. A week after putting it in the pot from the ground, we already have so much growth on this plant. Like, we're talking like inches on some of these branches, and super stoked about that. I think that's hopefully that means it's a sign that it took to being uprooted from the ground and put into a pot pretty well. So I mean, look at that, that's awesome. I don't know if you, just in the last clips I showed, it was just a week ago once it was in the pot, and now this is a week later, and so looks like it's gonna be on its way to developing pretty well. So I actually might need to trim this thing pretty soon to just promote a lot of branch splitting and new branches forming. So looking forward to that. Just wanted to give you this quick sweet update. Yeah.